art, and we benefit even now in the same room with the things they collected and loved. A huge thanks to the family, Marty, Russ, Gail, and Lynn, who shared the furniture for the exhibition and allowed us to peek into the lives of their parents. Rita donated the objects that are for sale throughout the gallery before she passed away, and 100% of the sales support 108 programs and exhibitions. Thanks to Myra Block-Kaiser, who had the vision for this exhibition, and who sat down with curator Holbrook Lawson and Marty Newman over a year ago and introduced the concept. Holbrook took it from there and designed an extraordinary exhibition. Not only did she work closely with the family to painstakingly embody the feel of the Newman home, but in the process captured the spirit of Rita and Don. A huge thank you to Gail Richards, who challenged others to support with giving, Living with Art, Anonymous, the Koretz Family Foundation, Peter Walter, the Ann and Henry Zero Foundation, Maxine and Jack Zero Family Foundation, the Sharna and Urban Frank Foundation, Charles and Lynn Schusterman Family Foundation, the Judith and Jean Pape Adams Charitable Foundation. And a shout out to our board of directors for their ongoing dedication and hard work, and special thanks to Jean Ann Fauser for her extra hours on this exhibition. And thanks, as always, to Teresa Valero and Third Floor Design for the stunning work they did on the catalog and for all they do for us. We're not the easiest client in the whole wide world, so we appreciate you guys. And you may purchase the catalog for $10 today. It's over on the counter. Thanks to Nancy Woloff and Caroline Crane, who orchestrated the patron party, to Scott Johnson, Bob Hawks for the beautiful photographs you see in the catalog, to Nancy and Phil Lyle, Frank Campbell, and George Brooks, who helped with heavy lifting and building. This was truly a village that put this exhibition together. And as always, we appreciate our very talented staff, Crystal, Jen, Ellen, and Catherine, and our interns, Zoe, Kelsey, and Shelby. Holbrook Campbell Lawson is an independent art advisor and consultant based in Tulsa. She provides professional advisory services to a wide range of private, architectural, and corporate clients. Holbrook served as chair of the Oklahoma Arts Council and is currently chair of the Tulsa Arts Commission. She is a board member of the Oklahoma Arts Institute, Oklahoma Policy Institute, Mid-America Arts Alliance, Capital Preservation Commission, and 108 Contemporary. Holbrook holds a PhD from the University of North Texas, a master's degree from the University of Texas at Austin, and a bachelor's degree from Vanderbilt University. Thank you for taking us to the gallery today.
You're welcome. I would like to tell you all that this was a pleasure. When Marty and Myra and I met for lunch at Juniper's, and they said, okay, we have about 25, 26 objects that were gifted to 108, and we need to sell them because we're not a collecting institution. So would you curate this show? And I remember thinking at the time, okay, that's not a lot of objects when you look at such a large space. How will I go about that? So after a little consideration, I called them back and had lunch with them again, and I said, okay, I'll do it. But I'll do it if I can borrow liberally from the family and recreate the vignettes similar to the Newman's home. It won't be exact because the environment is different, the wall color is different, but maybe we can show how the Newmans loved art, lived with art, and what was important in their quest to acquire the pieces. And through the course of this, I've learned so many things that, in addition to what I thought I knew in the beginning. The most valuable aspect that I learned about the Newmans is that they were so appreciative. And they were appreciative. They would wake up every morning and they would say, oh, we're so blessed to have gotten to know that artist, to have gone and seen that work, and to actually acquire a piece by that artist. And they enjoyed the relationships that they developed over time with the artist. So for them, it was about owning the piece, about the quest to find the work, understand the process by which the artist goes through to create the work, and to feel a part of that in relationship with them. So they were blessed, and they were blessed, they continue to do that by blessing 108 with these gifts to sell. And so it was really fun to go shopping in the various homes in town and one in New York. And one of the pieces that I acquired early on in the process is this. When I say acquired, I went shopping in New York. This piece by Otto Decker, and we know Otto Decker's work, but it is in a way a portrait of Rita. Rita was the first woman board president at Holbrook, and so she started a legacy and a great role model and example for the women in this community. And so here is her raincoat painted exactly as it was hung at home with her special buttons, and those are her buttons that she might rotate out according to her cause and her moment. So whether Otto Decker realized it or not, it is a lovely portrait of Rita in that sense. And of course her trademark scarf that she might be wearing that day. So that's aspects of it that I wanted to bring from the home. Another piece that I'm very pleased to have on loan is this Windle Castle coffee table. And he is sort of known as the American art furniture forefather in the United States. And he has this stacked lamination technique that he actually kind of started, created, or processed by which he makes these coffee tables, and in this case a coffee table. And then also his biomorphic shapes. So those are important aspects of his work. He really is innovative in the way that he looks at a coffee table and makes it very sculptural in that process. So that is one of the things that we have on loan today from the family. It sets part of the stage for how they lived with some of the pieces that are for sale. Where you have this stacked laminate, you might have other fiber work surrounding it in the home as well. And so that's why it's sort of placed this way. Another fun sculptural type piece is this piece that is actually made or fabricated by Brett Logan. And this was an inspiration. He's a local guy here in Tulsa. He's also a designer and the like. But this particular piece is to mimic and look like a subway map, and that was actually Rita's concept and initial design. I have to say, once again, thank you to the staff, because this was serious girl power to actually install this light and have it actually work. And here is Jen operating a scissor lift, working with her dad to make sure she's got the electrical aspect funneled down in to light it up. And after it was installed, there was this moment of, we did it, here in the gallery. Because a lot of hard work went into installing each and every one of these pieces. And then another one is actually right behind here. This is a Sherry Markovitz, another piece that is owned by the family. Her work travels to many museums. And Sherry is an intriguing kind of person because she collects a lot of miscellaneous items, like buttons and beads and feathers and little plastic Scotties and fake pearls. And then she would make these type collage structures from those. And one day, her entire work changed when she happened into a taxidermy shop. And when she walked into the shop, it brought back all of her fond memories of working in the Seattle Zoo as a young person. And from then on, she started making these trophies out of collage, fiberglass, and found objects. And so that is one of their great pieces from home. Another really fantastic piece is the coffee table below by Howard Werner. And Howard Werner, Rick, you'll reference some of his work when he takes inspiration from Brancusi and Noguchi, so two other really fantastic sculptors, and that is what he brings to it in his mindset. Now, what's intriguing about this particular piece, it's made of palm wood. So he takes an unlikely material and then sculpturally carves it into this particular shape. So it almost coils in from when you look down into it.
I wasn't sure if it was clay.
No, it's actually palm wood. Mm-hmm.
Beautiful.
It is a beautiful piece. It's a lot lighter than you think, because we moved it. So it's, before we head down there, I think I'm going to move to a couple of the items that are for sale at this end. This particular work, these two in here, are actually for sale, and they're by Donna Look. And Donna Look is an intriguing person because she lives in Wisconsin, and she will go out into the countryside, hike, and gather and glean wood, bark, strips of materials, raw materials from her environment, and then brings them back in and works with them, and then adheres them together with silk thread. These are beautiful, elegant, refined, sophisticated shapes that she makes from these truly raw material like birch bark in particular. And then she crafts the simple form and shape that are very elegant and beautiful. And the basket weaving aspect is just gorgeous as well. They're probably some of the most valuable in the show because of the amount of work and effort. And I don't know this for a fact, but I would imagine I could see the Newmans saying, well, we'll go hiking with you. We'll go check it out. I could just see them going about while she's gleaning and gathering these components to make a work. I wouldn't put it past them, and haven't asked the family, but wouldn't be surprised if it's accurate. We'll go right back here. I don't know if that's a problem, to look at this John Garrett basket. John Garrett has this complete fascination with sort of technological textiles. And he takes unusual objects and then weaves them into a basket. So you have nuts and bolts and brushed aluminum strips, trim copper strips, all in this basket. So he takes the most unlikely items and then creates this shape. I like it in particular on this table that the Newmans acquired from an artist in Chicago, and he takes the metal and creates very strong, clean line, artistic tables, chairs, and bookcases. There is a third piece to this that is the credenza, but we couldn't even move it. It was so heavy. We couldn't even nudge it. And that's when we decided we would just take 2, not 3. Also, another little aspect that I've woven in, Rita and Dawn, once again in their hiking exploration, might have a really fantastic John Garrett piece, and then right next to it is a bird's nest that they have found. So those were some of the other objects from the family that I borrowed, the turtle shells and the bird's nest. They would weave back in their own found object right next to this beautifully crafted piece. I think from here we will go towards the other end of the gallery at that. This work is intriguing to me. It's by Susan Kavicki, and Susan Kavicki took her very first basket weaving class so that she would learn a craft to do while her husband went fishing. And she just wanted to occupy her time initially. And she, during that time in studying and learning, she learned how to harvest, pound, split, and weave brown ash all the time while he was fishing. So in that process, where she has this kind of organic element to what she does, this is called Dance of the Tides. Imagine she's out there, she's looking at nature, she's watching her husband, I think probably fly fish, although I don't know exactly what style, but fishing and seeing the undulation of the water and the tides or the movement of it. And this, in her mind, is another form of that very same thing. It is a beautiful shape of it with such movement without actually moving at all. It's a glorious piece. The detail of it, when you look closely, how close and tightly woven it is, it's really beautifully executed. She only primarily works with black ash. This little tiny basket is a pomo basket, and it is woven with little tiny seashells in there. They're microscopic, and these tiny little microscopic seashells had to been drilled very finely in order to be woven into it. The other interesting thing is there's a piece in the back that is a wire basket with a little bit of color on it in the center. And that artist actually goes and works with the Pomo Indians, and that is his interpretation of their work. So it's kind of interesting in a collection to have an actual Pomo Indian's work, as well as somebody that has learned from them and taking their own meaning from their culture. And then one of the last pieces I want you all to come a little bit closer and to look at is this Missy Stephens. This is actually, Missy Stephens is actually uses the punch loop method to create her work. So she works from behind the work and uses a type of needle that punches through and pulls the thread back out. It almost looks like a carpet when you look at it closely. And what she does is, it tells a story, but she uses absolutely no words. And she doesn't want to use words, so that when you look at it, you create your own story from what you see. And so when you see the faces along the sides, it might be time to you, it might be different moods or opinions. You weave your own story into it with what she's created. Now, another thing I want you all to notice is the frame on this. The frame was built by her husband. So from a collecting standpoint, if you ever come across an artist's work that has a frame that's either built by the artist themselves or built by their spouse or somebody really close to them, and they've identified that it should look that way, buy it all complete. I have a collector here in town who has a stunning painting, and the painter's work is at the Crystal Bridges in Arkansas. But her painting that she has here has all the standard elements in it to be a very successful, well-valued painting. Has this standing bear, this magical scene, but it is not in the original frame that the artist builds himself and details on the corner. And if she actually had the frame, the painting would be worth $20,000 more than it is now. So always take into consideration what the artist builds or crafts to go with the work. So that's another thing to keep in mind. I didn't think I would torture you with long, lengthy explanations on everything, but if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer or to look at an item. I don't know. Myra, do you want to say anything? You are probably more well-versed than any of us here, so.
I think you've done a great job.
Well, if you have any questions.